Everybody, I believe, is a leader. And this is what I want you to be able to understand. Now, the pastor is leading the church. She is a leader in worship, but she's also a leader. So the battery department must do its part. The spark department must do its part. The terminal wire must do its part. You see that?
Yeah.
So that this whole company, this whole church, this whole family must be able to move forward. Does it make sense? So it's very important that you must actually recognize where God has placed you. So we are all leaders in functions. I don't know if you understand that word. We are all leaders in what? In function. So you need to find that place that you must function. So if I find my place where I must function, I must understand that the pastor, God has given him a position of being a leader of the church. But his leadership can never be effective until I find my place to be effective in that area. Does it make sense? So the spark plug does not compete with the battery. Does it make sense? It's all working together to make sure that this thing happens. You see, I get worried when I see in the church there is a pulpit ministry, and the pulpit ministry is given to the pastor. It's the pastor who stands and preaches. So the only mentality that we have in the church is that you are working for God when you are performing pulpit ministry. That is when we say you are working for God. Someone is a spark in a business world. You know, that is the place where God has placed them. But you find the person, because they feel they're not working for God, they leave business and they will come to fight with the pastor in this space. Now every space that God gives you, He gives you grace in that space. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So how do you know that this is not my place? In that place you have no grace. Then you know that this is not your place.
Amen.
So if you are in a Sunday school and the Sunday school is shrinking instead of thriving, that is not your place. That doesn't make sense. So there are no wrong people. It's that people are in wrong places. They are not wrong.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
So that's why you find that even people who cannot sing, but but there is no grace of singing, but in them they want to sing. You understand what I'm trying to say? Now you got to understand that when God gives you, that's what the Bible talks about, the gifts of the Spirit of God. One word of that gift is grace. Every gift comes with grace. Every gift comes with grace. So if there is no grace in that gift, that is not your area. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So the key thing is very critical for us to be able to understand that this ministry can never go to the next level. In many cases, you find that the pastor in his own capacity can lead the church to 100 people or 150 or maybe 200 people. That is where the church will end up, when it is the pastor who is leading the church. The other leaders have to be developed, those who are enveloped. You see envelope, it means something is inside the envelope.
Yeah.
Must be opened.
Yeah.
And the message must be brought out.
Amen.
That is development. So there is a discovery of opening the envelope, the potential inside the people that are in the church. So I think one of the things that we have not done as leaders is to unleash and release the potential that lies in the masses that are in the pew.
Yeah.
So the only thing that we have is that we have got people who can minister in the pulpit. They can take an offering, they can do this, but they are not really functional. So as leaders, what we do, we actually go and appoint people who are specialists at sitting down in the church. Do you understand? So we put them in position and they do what they've been doing best, that's just to sit. They occupied a position and they sit. That's what they do. They come to church, all they know about church is you sit. The only place where they know that they must work is in the government. So you find some of you in your own right, you are good in managing, you are good with administration, you are good with this, but those skills, when you come to church, you know, when people come to church, it's like somebody with their head in, okay? Nobody. But here's the thing, it's like this, it's like when people come from work, they have this stuff that they're wearing, you know? But when they come to church, it's like at the door is written there that no heads allowed. And we take them off and we put them outside and we go inside the church. When I'm talking about a head, I'm talking about your mind, I'm talking about your thinking. So it's more like we have written somewhere to say people who can think are not allowed in the church. So we've got a lot of people who are very spiritual, but the church is not going anywhere. In a matter of fact, the world is not attracted by our spirituality. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? People are not attracted. People are attracted like the way the pastor looks. They're attracted to the way the pastor looks. There are certain people who come to church because the pastor is wearing a jean and a nice white shirt and a nice jacket. They say, no, I will go to that church. Because they look at the natural. That's why we must be presentable. So that's very important that we must be able to minister at that level. That's why the language that the world speaks is excellence, not spirituality. So for us to be able to minister to the world and make sure that we make an impact, get this, we need to make sure that we speak that language. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Basara? Are you catching this? Very critical and very much important for us to be able to think in that way. You got to think like a fish to catch a fish. Does it make sense? So the problem is that we have got a lot of people who are very spiritual but very unpractical. You know, heavenly bound but earthly of no good. That's what it's from. So then we have got no meaning. We don't really speak into the lives of the people. That's why you find that a lot of young people are not coming to church. You know, and that is the problem. It's only people who can speak, can sing Ikulongo and all of these things that are there because they are used to it. But we need to learn to up our game. Does it make sense? So one of the things that I believe it needs to be is the matter of life and death. Now I need to be able to understand this. Leadership is not a want. We said that again. Leadership is not a want. People don't want leaders. They need leaders. So leadership is a need. Leadership is a need. As much as people need water, they need leadership. As much as people need oxygen, they need leadership. Understand? It's a need. That's why people suffer from a lack of direction. That is leadership. Lack of vision. That is leadership. Lack of organization. That is leadership. So, very critical for us to be able to understand that, otherwise we are moving where we're not supposed to move. That makes sense? Yes. I'm not talking about managers. I'm talking about leaders. Does it make sense? Yeah. There's a difference between leaders and managers. Managers, they do things right, but they might not be doing the right thing. There's order. There is, this must be placed here, this must be placed here. But there must be a leader that must cast the vision. So the question that I'm asking you, what is your role in this ministry? Why are you here? Why shouldn't you be at Restoration or El Shaddai? Why this ministry? since you came into this church, what has changed? Are you an asset or liability? What has changed? You know, for this, I'll buy something. Let's listen to me very carefully. When David went to Saul's house, Saul had a demon, and when he entered into his house, a demon has to check out. Amen. You see, if you are a leader, when you enter into a sphere or an atmosphere, something must happen. You understand what I'm saying? Well, when his father sent him to the battlefield, and all of them, even Saul himself, was struggling. You know, but when David got there, he killed the giant. Something happened when he got into the battlefield. What happens when you go to this church? What happened? Has the thing stayed the same? Or it has gotten worse? Are you bringing your skills? Are you part of the solutions or problems? Does it make sense or not? So for this organization, for this church to be able to move forward, for the company to be able to move forward, there have to be the right people in the right seats in the bus. Not the wrong people. Amen. You don't want a Judas in your bus, because that ship will sink. Yeah. Not because you are not going to the right direction. Yeah. The church is going the right direction, but is that there is a wrong person in the church that is supposed to go opposite direction. That doesn't make sense. So something must change. Something must change. So you look at David. Whenever he entered Saul's house, battlefield, you could see things begin to happen. It's a thing that I want you to have in your mind. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Amen. So I want us to do this. I want us to do this because I don't want to be here and just speak. I also want us to have a dialogue. I want you to answer this question, maybe in a group. You know, I know there are men here. Maybe the three of you, four of you, maybe four of you. Ask this question: what are you adding into the life of the church? Because it's not as if everything you add. You know, a mosquito, right? When a mosquito is in the room, you can feel it. Small as it is, you can feel that the mosquito is here. Yes. You understand? Listen. So what is it? Don't just exist and consume all the oxygen in the church. Does it make sense? Yeah. There must be something that you're saying. I know that this is what God wants me to do. And you got to get to that level where you're saying to myself, no, I'm here to add value, and there's something that I need to do. So there's nobody here who is insignificant. All of us, we've got a purpose that God wants us to fulfill. Hallelujah, praise God. Now let me say this. The pastor has the picture, but it does not have the puzzles. Oh, you did not hear that. Did you hear that? Yeah. He has the picture, but it does not have all the puzzles. Yeah. You are the puzzle in the picture. That is the vision. Praise the Lord. So what is my puzzle? Because that picture will never be complete without my puzzle. So what is it that I'm bringing to the plate? What is it that I am adding?